to the Sublime Soiree, Friends Living Free Above the Fray. This month we're talking all about invitations. And last Monday we shared with you God's invitation and how we each personally accepted that invitation. If you've not had the chance to watch it yet, go to our blog or the website, thesublimesoiree.org. We have a wonderful printable for you available as well if you subscribe to our blog.
So today we're going to be unpacking for you several ideas for ways to invite others into our lives and into God's sanctuary by just doing simple, really everyday things. And we're really looking forward to sharing some of these ideas with you.
And today we want to share with you a little bit about ideas, like Linda said, how to minister to our friends, our neighbors, and new acquaintances. And many of these ideas that we're sharing are not really new. Something might jump out to you today as we share, but our hope is that you would be encouraged to implement one of these ideas and invite someone into fellowship who you don't know yet or you want to share Christ's invitation with.
Yes, so one of those ideas, as you can see me preparing, is making soup. And today we're actually making one of my family's longtime family recipes, potato soup. And the neat thing about this recipe is that it's so easy. You can either throw it in your crock pot at the very beginning of the day, have it cooking all day, and then serve it up right before dinner or right at dinner time. Or it can also be a real last minute recipe. It can take 20 minutes, beginning to end, to have it completely put together. So it's a great last minute idea as well. We're making the vegan version, but this also can be adjusted to appeal to the palate of those meat eaters in your life.
Mm-hmm. So soup making can be a great way to connect and a great tool for inviting. Mm-hmm. Invite others together to make soup. One of my neighbors and friends a few years back gave me this book called the Soup Bible. You can find this at Barnes & Noble in the discount book section. And she wrote a really neat note that just says, every time we make soup together, it makes me think of you. And one soup Bible and two Christian women make soup for the soul. Mm. So what a cool idea. But then one of the things that we found so fun was to take a recipe, date it, and try it, and really work our way through the Soup Bible. On top of just being able to gift this book and make this soup together, it gives you an opportunity to talk to one another. Also, just even I've purchased other books for people and gifted those.
Yes, you have. And as a matter of fact, this is my copy of the Soup Bible that you bought for me, Sue, and you invited me over to your house, and I brought one of my favorite soup recipes, and you pulled out one of your favorites from the book, and we prepared it and enjoyed it together. But also it was just a great way to continue to build on our friendship, to get to know each other better. I think it was not that long after we had moved to the area.
Yes.
So It was so fun. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, so check that out. Look at the discount book section. If you see a book that you might want to gift to someone, what a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, another use for making soup is to deliver it to people. That's exactly what this pot of soup is being used for. We'll be delivering it to a young family tomorrow who just had a baby. And so just to relieve them of the added pressure of having to make dinner, we'll deliver dinner to them tomorrow, and also be able to see that sweet little baby and her big brother. So that should be a lot of fun. And you can really use soup to minister to people who, new families, perhaps somebody who's just had surgery or has been very sick, perhaps a family that's grieving, or maybe even just somebody who's been going through a really tough day or a tough season. And you can take that with some dessert and maybe some fresh flowers and really minister to them.
And when we're making soup, one of the things that we really like to do is to make soup in bulk. And I want to share with you just 2 containers. I usually buy my containers in bulk at Dean's Supply in Cleveland, but you can buy them anywhere. I think Daviti's in the Falls. but stock up. So when you make soup, double or triple the recipe so you can have some for yourself at a future date or some to gift. Or if you're having a soup making party, everybody can take home some for themselves.
sample.
It's a great opportunity to try different things that maybe you wouldn't try on your own if you were just looking through the soup book.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's also just a great opportunity to have things on hand, like you were saying, Linda. Someone having a tough day, just pull out something from the freezer and go surprise them.
Right, absolutely. Now, I actually was taught many, many years ago in a Bible study that I was doing to always make sure that I double any meal that I'm making. If I'm planning to deliver a meal to somebody else, always make it double, because this Bible study teacher said you want to make sure that you're serving as wonderful a dinner to your family as you are to the person that you plan to minister to. Don't cut them out of the joy and blessing. Include them in it. So it's a great opportunity to tell your family, I love you so much, by giving them a beautiful, beautiful meal, and also deliver it to a friend in need.
Yes, yes. You had some other really good ideas too, Linda, about the holidays and things that
yes.
you've done with pansies and soup and bread. Like,
Yes.
what have you done recently?
Well, we do like to make food. And so my family moved around a lot when the kids were little, and we might be in a place for 2-3 years tops. So I found myself desiring to get to know neighbors quickly, because we didn't know how long we would have an opportunity to really be part of their lives and, again, invite them into God's family. And so what we did was we made it kind of a fun activity for myself and the kids. And we would bake cookies, or we would bake bread, and we'd wrap it up all nice, and then we'd pile it into their wagon, and we would just go door to door and introduce ourselves with a little note and our phone numbers and things like that, just to say, hey, we're your new neighbors and we love being here, and we'd also love to help you at any time that you need it. We're just a phone call away or a knock on the door, and it's nice to meet you. And so that's what we would do. But last year, we also found some new opportunities or new ways to do that. We're actually recently in this home, and we moved here right before COVID hit. And so, and it was, we moved in just before the holidays, and then we had an illness in my family. My dad got very sick, and so he and my mom moved in for a little while, and so I was really ministering to them for a time. And then almost as quickly as they got back on their feet, COVID hit. And so we were all sheltering at home. And here we had this new neighborhood and an opportunity to meet people, but we couldn't, because we were all sheltering at home, and we needed to keep our safe distances and all of that. So no food deliveries, because that felt like it would be a little bit unsafe. But we could do a little pot of new life. And so, much like this pansy, we just went out and purchased some pansies and put a little note together. We donned our masks, and we went door to door and just put a little pot of pansies on the porch of our neighbors, had a note attached to it introducing ourselves, and we did knock on the door and then backed away so that, again, we were keeping our distance, but we were able to just introduce ourselves, say hello, and it really struck up some nice conversations and have started some new friendships that we really hope we can build on once all of our COVID social distancing ceases.
So that's such a great idea. I love that. And we can also say welcome. Like you said, you mentioned bread. One of the things that I've done in the neighborhood is give away something called the Giving Plate. And I don't have any right now because I've given them away. But you can download them, what the verbiage is, and just use any plate from Home Goods or TJ Maxx. But you can also look in the Target $5 section, and they often have this plate. And this plate says, the Giving Plate, this plate belongs to everyone, everywhere it may go. With each new sharing of its gift, the love and blessing grow. Fill it up and pass it on to family and to friends. To start the circle one more time, love's journey never ends. And this has been a great opportunity and tool to introduce myself to new neighbors. And I'll drop that off. Yeah, just as a way to touch them. And I like to do zucchini bread. And often when I make zucchini bread, these are cute little containers from Home Goods, but you can do bigger or small. Again, the idea is cook in bulk. It's smarter, not harder. Save some in the freezer so that at the right time you can pull it out and gift it to someone else. But I give them the plate and ask them to share the plate with someone else. And it's a great way to introduce yourself to neighbors, and it's inexpensive.
Yeah. You're reminding me too, Sue, with these. My sister-in-law buys this size of container for my mother-in-law every year because my mother-in-law lives on a fixed income. You know, she's a retiree. And but she loves to give. She just loves to create, and she loves to give. And one of her favorite ways to give is with baked goods. So she too will bake bread and put it into containers like this and deliver it to her neighbors. So I think that's just such a neat reminder that you don't have to be a particular age. You don't even have to be a particular income to be able to be a blessing to others. We are all blessed in different ways to be a blessing. So this is such a neat idea. I just love that. Nothing like saying I care than hitting somebody in their taste buds and their tummies.
Absolutely. And I was thinking of one other fun idea. When we moved into the neighborhood, we have a wonderful bakery here that does amazing cakes called the West Side Bakery. And someone came over, knocked on the door, and had this beautiful cake, and it said, "Welcome to the neighborhood."
Oh, that's
and you
so
can
nice.
imagine what a blessing and surprise that was.
Yes, absolutely. And you're reminding me too of some fun things that we can do at the holidays. So we, again, COVID last year hit, and we were not able to all get together with our families. And again, I was just telling you about my mother-in-law. Well, she lives in a 55 and older community, a high-rise condominium. And so many of her neighbors had to just stay at home on Easter Sunday because they couldn't be with their families. They weren't allowed, and their families weren't allowed into the building either, at least not in mass. So I asked my mother-in-law ahead of time who might be alone, and I actually was able to prepare a complete meal for one of her neighbors, but I didn't want to leave anybody out. So dollar store to the rescue. These bags are so inexpensive. You just reminded me that I think they're $4 for $1. $4 for $1. Bought these, filled them with a chocolate cross, added an Easter card, a little Christmas story to it, and dropped them off at everybody's door and just blessed them with a little bit of Easter love at a time when they weren't able to leave. And we got some neat comments from that. So another idea to go to really share the love with strangers, kind of our 1 to 100, right, is your basic lunch bag. Basic lunch bag, a very inexpensive bottle of water, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. Make some sandwiches in bulk, and then have these in your car. I also like to include perhaps a Book of John or a New Testament. Pop that into the bag as well. And then as you're driving either to church with your family or as you're just driving around doing errands and you see perhaps a homeless person, somebody's struggling, just roll down your window and give them one of these gifts. The other neat thing that a friend of mine did was she had her children write notes on the front of the lunch bag or draw pictures, and they could really become part of it, and they were so excited to see who got to receive it. So another neat idea.
And another dollar store idea, which Linda is showing us here, is a vase. So sometimes what I like to do is grab a bunch of vases at the dollar store, and I have a wonderful kind of cutting garden with some shrubs and flowers, and I sometimes will add to it, or sometimes I just go out and cut it, put it in the vase, and deliver it to one of the moms or someone who's home. But for a lot of people, flowers are just a sweet array of sunshine that blesses them.
And also something that they would consider to be not something they would do for themselves, but to receive it is just such a blessing. Now, I don't have the beautiful cutting gardens that Sue has, but I do recognize a pretty bouquet when I see one. So I like to buy big bouquets from Sam's Club or you introduced me to all of the beautiful bouquets at Trader Joe's. They have such gorgeous bouquets.
And on a budget.
Right, and
Really
on a
good
budget.
price.
So and you can get large quantities, particularly at Sam's Club, and divide those up and put them into those wonderful containers, and you might be able to get 3 or 4 beautiful bouquets out of one purchase. Again, tie it with beautiful ribbon, add a handwritten card to it, and now you've really added some sunshine to somebody's day. Just like you said, Sue. Yeah.
Other ideas might be on the first day of school, filling up a wagon with donuts, muffins, bagels, coffee, and going down to the bus stop. Or inviting the ladies in your neighborhood at the bus stop to a coffee. Some of them might be sending off a kindergartner for the first time. That is a wonderful way of connecting.
Yes.
We're cooking today, making soup, but another idea is freezer meals.
Right.
Gathering together a group of ladies, everybody comes with a list of ingredients that they've purchased beforehand and some containers to go, and then you make 7 meals and you walk home with, or walk or drive with some items that you can freeze and have on hand.
Yes.
Gathering in the neighborhood with couples and friends and connections from church, there's so many ways to do that. I know another creative idea is we had a book club. I'll show a few books that we've done. We have, as couples, done Love and Respect, The Marriage You've Always Wanted, Your Divine Design, but again, an opportunity for a short amount of time, 4 to 6 weeks, to gather on a Saturday night, date night with a purpose, grow and encourage each other in your marriage.
Yes.
We've also done several Bible studies in the neighborhood where, again, it's a great opportunity to invite. We just finished Guarded by Christ, a book we highly recommend by Heather Holleman. And some of the other studies we did were Satisfy My Thirsty Soul by Linda Dillow and Seamless, which really is the storyline of the Bible, an excellent study. Or even a book club. And this is a great book, Redeeming Love.
Yes. Yes. So you did that years ago in your neighborhood, but I was just reminded that the movie's coming out. So this would be a great time to bring this book back out, have the study with everybody, walk through the book, and then do either we'll be able to go back to the movie theaters and you can make it a night out with the ladies, or have it live stream it into your home and be able to watch it as a group there. But this could be a really neat opportunity here coming up in the next several months. Yeah. And there was another fun thing that we did, Sue, golly, probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. I was made aware of a woman who actually moved to your neighborhood. She was a recent transplant. Her husband had accepted a position here, and the recruiter who got the job for him or invited him into the job knew that they were new to this area. Christina, our friend, had not actually ever been outside of California, and so she was just trying to figure out how to navigate winters in the Midwest as a California lady. And so my friend reached out and said, is there any way that you could introduce her to anybody? Well, it turned out her address, I was very well aware of it because I knew many people in that neighborhood, you included. So we decided to host a brunch for her, a welcome brunch, but we brought it to her home. We brought all of our favorite dishes. We brought all of the utensils. She didn't have to clean up a thing. And we just brought it to her home. We brought a book that where we all could write in it favorite places to visit, recommended services or doctors or dentists, just favorite grocery stores, whatever it might be. We just left all of that for her. So by the end of the day, she had a whole slew of new acquaintances and also an introduction to her new home. And she's become a really lifelong friend as a result of that. So we were all blessed by getting to know her too.
And going back to the neighborhood, it makes me think about when we were talking about book studies, how... You actually invited me to one of those book studies. And it was a really special book study because you invited me to participate in a study called Heaven. Actually, read a book called Heaven by Randy Alcorn. I think that's who it was. And we were reading it at a time when one of
your dear neighborhood friends was walking through cancer, and really the last days of cancer. And I was saying to Sue earlier, that was a really precious invitation, because at a time where all of you could have really hunkered down, locked arms, gotten very intimate with each other and just stayed close because you had this history with each other, and this friend was about to leave your presence, you instead invited a stranger in and welcomed me into the fold. And that was just a beautiful gift to me, not to mention such a beautiful blessing to all of us to be able to study more about heaven, but also see this dear friend's anticipation with excitement, right? So that was just a wonderful, wise word to me, to never cease looking to the left or to the right at somebody else who you might be able to welcome into even such an intimate, difficult time, because you can be blessed but also be a blessing in the midst of that.
Yeah, that was really precious. To be with her those last days and to see her excitement about heaven.
Yes.
She was so frail and tired and ready, but excited to see Christ and be with him, the ultimate invitation that we're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. That was a beautiful, beautiful time. Sue, were there any other things that you've done around, say, Easter or Christmas in the neighborhood? I think that you've done some gatherings, haven't you?
Yes. So a few times a year we gather, and Christmas and Easter is such a great time to be intentional, to have a brunch in your home, to host women. Everybody can bring something. Again, even as we're sharing these ideas, they're inexpensive. You can make them what you want them to be. It's really this offering to come.
Yes.
And again, the idea of being intentional.
Right.
So at Christmas, one time I had a friend speak and share her story. And we sang carols, and we had Christmas cookies, and we sat her on the island. And we did that for several years. And even sometimes we've done couples, like a neighborhood open house. And then Easter, but...
And you also, at Christmas time, did something with wedding soup, didn't you?
Yeah. So I have a tradition. I think we've been doing this for a few years now, where we come with our containers and we make wedding soup. A friend of ours has an Italian husband who has an Italian family that they have this recipe that they've passed along. And so we've had the opportunity to make that, share it, and then often we will eat the soup on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So that's also a fun tradition.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so neat.
Who knew you could do all this with soup?
I know, right?
The opportunities are endless.
Seriously, so endless. And that reminds me, did we share the fun giveaway that we might be doing this year? Or this week? I'm sorry, this week.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so we had shared with you that we are going, maybe we didn't, I don't know. We've shared so much, I don't remember all the things we said. But we are going to be sharing this potato soup recipe with you this week on our website, as well as your zucchini bread and perhaps some other recipes. But in addition to that, for some fortunate person, we're going to be giving you a trip to the grocery store to purchase all of those ingredients so that you can either prepare it for your own family or you can pay it forward and bless somebody with the blessing of those ingredients. Yeah. So do check out our website for those recipes. Do visit our social media, because we will have those opportunities to win those groceries and some other fun items. And make sure that you come back the next week, because we're going to be starting to talk about ways to share the invitation specifically with our family. We're going to really focus on our family. And the way that we're going to be doing that is by sharing a roundtable with our mothers and daughters, which is really, that was so fun. We just really hope that you'll enjoy that.
Yes, so you are not going to want to miss it.
Right.
In the meantime, friends, may your week be sublime, wonderful, beautiful, full of awe, and free above the fray. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, everybody.